a second. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Aaron Holloway here. I'm going to be doing a writing live stream this morning. I just want to make sure that everything looks good. Let me just quickly do some description editing. Give me one moment here. Alrighty. Save. There we go. Alright, let's go ahead. Alright, so if any of you have been following along with my Substack, some of you might have, some of you might not have been. I have recently migrated everything from my Patreon and my what is it called for the life of me? Why do I have two of these open? Okay, I'll need the one. There we go. Cool. Okay. So, if any of you have been following along in terms of like the saga of Aaron, you would know that I've recently migrated everything over from my Patreon and my MailChimp over to Substack, where pretty much everything is available for free, except for, of course, some content that's behind the paywall, like short stories and things like that. So what I'm going to be doing today is, why do I have both these open? I don't understand. Here we go. Let's share this out to a couple of different places. I'll try and share this out to Facebook. Going live. Feel for a writing session this morning. Okay. Post. Perfect. All right. Thank you for indulging me there. I just needed to get a little bit of that out of the way. All right, so what I'm going to be working on today is a little bit of a kind of a secret project I've been working on with a friend of mine. A little bit low key, low burn. It is a five man band type story, and we're just going to do some editing today. I'm just going to make it so y'all can see me a little easier. There you go. Yeah, we're just going to do some editing today. Let's move that out of the way so that it doesn't keep bothering us. There we go. So what we're going to do is I'm going to read through this. You're welcome to read along. It's a random chapter in kind of the middle of this thing, so you're probably not going to have a lot of context behind it. You are going to see kind of what I do as I go through and make a very rough early draft, and I take it and I try and make it more readable, more accessible, that kind of thing. So if you have questions, feel free to shoot them in the chat. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started here. This is by the way, I am, just for context, I'm working on this is a lit RPG, isekai, portal fantasy type deal. So, all right, let's see. Lazily. Okay. Consciousness. She could tell. She could tell she stayed up late, but exhausted she felt. See, she doesn't need to tell. You just say came to. Still exhausted from the night before. Also, sorry if you guys hear me clicking and clacking. That I recently got a new keyboard, and it is very clickety. Put it that way. Came to before. It had been a Saturday. No need. Actually, get up. He'd always been the early riser in their relationship. Nah, not thicker. See, how would you describe going from a modern bed to sleeping in kind of a large European four-poster bed? How to think about that? Heavier. Everything felt. There we go. Oh. See, what I like to do is I like to go with short paragraphs. This is something I learned in my first book, Ethria, The Pioneer. I went with very long paragraphs, very long chapters too. This is one of the first lessons I learned, and it, we'll put it this way, it was a lesson well learned. A lot of people didn't like it. It was hard to read. It took a while to get through, and that's understandable. You know, it wasn't the best written novel, but I think it had a lot of charm to it, and the series has only gotten better since. I have learned a lot since that first book. Here we go. Sorry, I'm just sharing it again out to the Facebooks. All right, once we're done with this, we'll, if I have time, we'll switch over and we'll do a little bit of editing of Humans and Vampires 2, which is a small a novella that I wrote a while back, the first one, and it was very good, in my opinion. I liked it. You can actually find the trailer on this YouTube page. How would I describe it? Have you ever heard of the HFY, the Humans F Yeah subreddit over on Reddit? It very much fits into that. It's inspired in many ways by those stories. And the first one was kind of unique. Jack Veraces, the narrator, did an amazing job voicing the character, really leaning into it, and I absolutely loved it. It was probably one of my favorite little side projects to do. And we have a second one coming out. We were hoping to get it out by January, but our actual jobs got in the way. I have for instance, I have a trilogy coming out with Athon soon, probably sometime in August, which is blistering breakneck speed for trad publishing, by the way. Like, that's it coming out within a year is of it being finished is actually pretty darn fast for a mid-lister, C-lister like me. Anyway, that's so I've had that kind of thing going on. I've had some other things, so it's really slowed me down in editing. And he's had a lot of projects as well, which has really slowed things down on his end. This has been really interesting, and we hope to continue in that universe at some point. I'm just editing the story at this point, and then we're kind of waiting for him to have a little bit of a lull in his schedule, and he can just knock it out, get the second one out there for people. We already have a cover and everything. It's really cool. Anyway, sorry, back to this one. Here, let's take a look. Also smell different. Is that perfume? She wondered, pondering the floral scent. It doesn't actually have to be two separate things. She wondered, pondering the floral scent. Confused. Yeah. My co-author on this one has a little bit of a bad tendency, and I have my own. Everybody has their own thing. A little bit of a bad habit of randomly capitalizing letters that he would say, it would emphasize in speech, but when you're writing, you don't emphasize that word just by capitalizing it. So, anyway, if you see there, that sentence, this is something I actually learned from working with Athon's editor. Statements like this wasn't home, should be, generally speaking, you want to separate them from the paragraph where you're having the character consider it. And the reason for that is you want that to really hit home. You want that to really stand out and feel emphasized. That's how you emphasize things. And that's a new thing for me. I before, again, as I said, in my first book, you can go and you can look at it. It's absolutely filled with just everything crammed into these massive paragraphs. This is a technique that I've learned recently, and it's really cool. And anyway, I'm picking up things like this as I go and slowly improving my craft, and it's been absolutely fascinating to me to watch myself improve. Anyway, we'll keep going. All right, let's read this one. I'm struggling with this paragraph. Also smelled different. Was that perfume? She wondered, pondering the floral scent. Confused. There we go. That's what. Okay. She sat up, the question forming in her sluggish brain. Automatically abandoned, and she saw the chamber. Automatically abandoned? I don't think we need that, because automatically abandoned makes it sound like it's... Yeah, we'll get rid of that. She saw the chamber she was in. This wasn't home. A dozen different thoughts and emotions assailed her senses. Well, just assailed her. A mix of wonder and panic, still being in this world she had hoped was a dream. Yeah, we'll get rid of that. Yeah. And you notice I haven't, just right here, I haven't actually changed anything he's written. Not substantially. I've just kind of smoothed it out a bit, separated some paragraphs. The fact that these three are so close visually in size is a little bit of a problem. But it's mainly going to be a problem for the... We'll come back to that later. This is mainly just trying to smooth things out, get it into a workable draft. This is very rough draft, going into work draft. And then after we get it into a work draft, then we'll do a first draft. I have a whole process, but anyway. And then after first draft, it goes off to copy editor. and then off to betas, and then betas come back. We do rewrites if needed, and then any rewrites get spot checked. All right. Different thoughts and emotions assailed her, a mix of wonder and panic of still being in this world she had hoped was a dream. Bronson, she called out, a tinge of distress leaking through into her voice. Leaking through her voice, about her voice tinged with distress. Yeah, let's do that. Her voice. With fear. What did he say? Is it confusion and panic? Tinged with concern. Here, love, he responded from behind her. Startled, she whirled around and noticed he had been silently meditating. He had whirled around and noticed. We don't have to describe her actually noticing. Been silently meditating in the direction she had already been facing. This is a bit confusing. On a bench. For a bit was just she hadn't noticed. I noticed him leaving. She sighed in relief. So the words wanna be an action, not describe an action. It's like she sighed in relief versus what was there previously? I can't remember. Oh. Anyway, deftly punching him in the shoulder after she crawled closer to him. She pulled herself closer. But I want to shorten this. Thought you were gone. She jabbed him. An easy target. Alright. She embraced him. Set silence. Bronson. See, that's another thing too. With tags like this, I don't know if you can. Let me adjust the screen so you can see. Yeah, I don't. My bad. There we go. You should be able to see. Okay. With tags like, where was I? Tags like this. Let me Control C, and then we'll Control V, so y'all can see what I did. Where it says Bronson said, right? You don't actually need that. You can have Bronson do something in that paragraph, and then he speaks. As long as the camera, so to speak, the mental camera is on that character. Again, this is something new that I learned, and it helps eliminate said tags. Said tags are great, particularly when they're, and you need them, particularly when there are multiple characters speaking, like in a meeting or something like that. They're extremely important, even though they can get a little repetitive. But sorry, I need a new headset. My mic lost its boom, and this is just falling apart. Anyway, that's beside the point. So you can have a character do an action like, okay, pushing her back gently, and then say something, rather than like immediately go into dialogue, rather than necessarily needing the dialogue tag. And the reason for that is, again, you don't want those saids too much. You want to eliminate echo as much as possible, and having someone say, Bronson said, Gwen said, Bronson said, Gwen said, before each, or at the beginning of each paragraph, or at the beginning of each section of dialogue, kind of, it has that echoey effect, right? Same as up here, where we have these three that are relatively the same size. The length is echoey. Even if here you have more variation. You have like very short, medium, short, long, short, medium. Right? You have this variation. Here they're pretty uniform, and that can create not exhaustion, but it can create kind of exhaustion in the reader's mind as they're going. So that will be changed eventually, not right this minute, but that will be changed eventually. Okay, where was I? Okay, this bed is huge. I was trying to get off it. Yeah, I like dinosaurs. What self-respecting author doesn't? What self-respecting man doesn't love dinosaurs? I'm kidding around, but anyway. Pushed her back gently. This bed is huge. How about that bed? Because they're on the bed. That bed is huge. I lost trying to get off it. The privy. He doesn't know what the privy is. Okay, sorry. Okay, we're going to change this, because in his mind it's going to be bathroom. He's an American. Well, Bronson isn't an American. Bronson is a Samoan guy who naturalized into a U.S. citizen. So when he was in his teens, it's kind of a problematic past, so to speak. I can't remember. I'll have to look at my notes again if he's Samoan or if he is from one of the other islands. But he's a kind of an islander type person. So I don't think they would use the term privy. That's a very European term. But he might use bathroom, because it's a very American way of saying it. And he's been an American since he was a teenager. Gwen laughed. See, you don't need and responded. You say, Gwen laughed. Instead of laughed, you'd probably say chuckle. Like that. Yeah. Also, we're still here. Her voice trailed off. See, a moment like this is a great opportunity for a little bit of introspection, or a little bit of character development. Right? Gwen is a low-level MMA fighter from the U.S. She's semi-professional MMA fighter, and she's made a few bucks at it. She wants to go full pro, and then but she's also a nerd. She does D&D and stuff. Anyway, point being, here is a good opportunity for us to get like her internal thoughts. So Gwen chuckled. Yeah, also, we're still here. Her voice trailed off as the weight of that statement struck home. Now I can now have an opportunity to add something in there that she might think or she might feel. That's just a really good opportunity to do that. So if she's kind of, I'm gonna have to confirm this with my co-author to make sure he's cool with it. But from what I'm gathering, she's kind of unnerved, but she's not like a nervous wreck. She's kind of, this is kind of a weird situation. Yeah, how are we gonna back home? All right, so we got a little bit of character development here, right? It's like she's used to, when she feels like this way, she feels, it's usually before a match. So, and she's able to take that kind of, what do you call it? That kind of, what do you call it? That nervousness out on a bad guy or out on her opponent, right? She can, through her competency, she deals with her nervousness. It's not necessarily through violence, it's through her competence. I think that's what a lot of people tend to forget. And yeah, in this case, her competency is the ability to commit violence on another person. Mind you, in a sport, so that's different too. Mind you, that's a different discussion. MMA and the supposed lack of rules in MMA is a discussion for another time. But I think you kind of understand what I'm going for here. She feels, unsteady, not rock solid. And there's her, Bronson, her husband, and their friends. He grunted in agreement. After a moment, agreement. See, this is another good opportunity for character development. Not necessarily of her, but of him. He doesn't really say much. He just grunts and pulls her into a hug. She broke the silence. Is this real? Are we really here? Just. Looked up into his eyes. After a moment. All right. This is another trick. Kind of both me and my co-author are pulling is we kind of took the archetypes. So this entire story is based on kind of the 5-man band idea. Right? You have 5 people, each person with a specific role. And what we've done is we've kind of done our best to give each of them a specific role and then flip that role on its head while still maintaining coherency to the story as well as faithfulness to the character and the archetype. It's been kind of difficult, but we've gotten creative with it, I think. So the big guy, who is Bronson, her husband, is by and far this massive guy who is capable of extreme violence, or at least he was when he was a kid. But now he's become a better person, someone that Gwen would even consider marrying, is he became a Buddhist. And so we're not going to get too much into like philosophy and stuff with Buddhism, but there are a couple of tenets or a couple of things that he's really kind of glommed onto, that he's really learned and taken to heart, that we're going to use as kind of to help guide his character. And we've taken this from several people who we know. We've done our research and talked with some Buddhists and things like that. We've observed, and we've been able to take a little bit here and there. We're not saying he's a priest or he's somebody who maybe knows the deep theology of Buddhism, but he's just a guy. And so he is kind of the gentle giant, but also not so gentle. But also, yeah, he's gentle. So there's a little bit of this back and forth with this character, right? A tension internally with this character. At least that's what we're trying to go for. We'll see if it works. We're still on the rough draft here. One of Buddhism's tenets is to see the world as it is. We just have to be mindful, he said, with a thoughtful look. Mindful and observant. A thoughtful look. See, not with a thoughtful look on his face, just, he said, a thoughtful look on his face. Comma. She ought to have known he'd be more accepting of this than she was. Hmm. Wow, we still have quite a few more pages to go, don't we? I'm going to stop giving specific examples here and just kind of go for it. Sorry. I have to get this done by noon, and we have about less than 30 minutes. So, they settled into comfortable silence, listening to the castle in the morning. They settled into a comfortable silence, listening to the castle and the early morning sounds. I like that. Okay. Gwen remembered taking light last night with the others. Talked about the possibilities, what the existence of this world meant. Spent a long time trying to find a consistent way of proving that they were real. It wasn't a dream or hallucination. They talked about their lives, how they each met, and many other things. It eventually devolved into an extended philosophical discussion. Oh, here's a really fun bit. Bronson and we actually have a character who is what do you call it? Hold on, I need to pull up my notes. Here we go. Leader, Lancer, big guy, smart guy, and what was his name? Joshua. Right. So we actually have a character who kind of who fits the chick role, the emotional heart role in the 5-man band, and he's actually a what do you call it? Mormon bishop, whose wife is an atheist. So it's really interesting, and these two are the kind of, or rather, he's not a Mormon bishop, but we're patterning him off of several bishops that we've met in the past, their personalities, kind of what their interests are, that kind of thing, and yeah, it's just interesting because basically we have several experiments devised, mostly Despite it all, nobody seemed satisfied. Even now, Gwen herself still felt. How about we felt? How about just say Gwen still felt uneasy about all they had experienced. Uneasy about it. It was just so far beyond outside, so far outside of anything that had seemed just the other day. A moment. All right. What agreed on was that Violet Crimson Light had interrupted their game that night. Okay, we don't actually probably don't need to go through this. What everyone agreed on was that Violet Crimson Light had interrupted their game night, for which they passed out. No one was exactly sure if that meant an explosion had occurred or something else. Silent snuggling. We probably don't need this. I'm going to highlight it because it's interesting, but I don't think we actually need it. So anyway, long moment of silent snuggling. See what I mean? It's like, what do you think? What do you think is really happening? There we go. Okay. Here comes the whole younger brother. All right, let's see. Cool. All right. Get rid of that. I don't know why I had that up. Well, we're getting close to where I'm going to need to show what I have done to my co-author, who I might have on someday. That'd be kind of fun. Yeah. But let me at least finish this scene. Okay. Younger brothers, what are you gonna do? Jeez. Dodging, I think? It said dodging out the open door. Well, yelled as the door slammed shut. Open door. See, this often happens. New writers will lose track of where their characters are. So it's like they were beside the bed, they were on the bed, they were beside the bed, now they're on the bed again. So, I can spell things. New keyboard. That's what I blame it on. Anyway. All right. Well, we're almost there. All right. Well, I'm going to probably end it there. Thank you all for joining and taking the time to, listen in. I know there was only probably one person who ever hopped on here. But hey, you got to start somewhere, right? I am probably going to do these at least once a week. Just take a piece of raw writing from either myself or my co-author and edit it up in front of y'all. In no way is this the finished product, but you can already see it reads easier visually. It is easier to read and it flows better. We're gonna get this looking really good by the time we're even close to publication. So, all right, thank you all. You have a great day.